Between September 1986 and January 1987, the children of the ILEA Tower Hamlets Saturday Centre spent part of their morning rehearsing Beginners Please, written specially for them by Carl Davis. Simon Foxley, the director of the centre, and the other teachers have been working on the music, which, although it may sound simple, proved to be far from easy for the children to play.
It's pretty good, but again, don't anticipate the start, and all be what most of you were watching, all the way through that first bit. And it's as soon as you get to the quavers, ya-da-da-da, ya-da-da, it starts to rush. So let's just go once more and then carry on this time.
I think that the piece made quite big musical demands in all the parts, and whilst some were easier from a note, sort of putting fingers on strings point of view, all the parts demanded quite a lot of careful listening and counting, and some reasonably complex rhythms for those less experienced players.
Repeat, keep it steady.
In the orchestral playing, one of the first things they've got to learn is to watch the conductor and to follow the conductor at the same time as reading their music. And so just getting used to keeping an eye on and trying to follow somebody waving their arms in front of them is an important thing to learn, as well as being part of a section and again being aware of what else is going on. Listening to who's got the tune and responding to when they've got something to bring out.
Repeat.
Let's do it once more without me saying anything except counting you in, and then we'll play it. 1, 2. La, 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 la. Okay, right, do it this way. La, la. So you make the first note, the B, shorter. Okay? And again. 1, 1. La, 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 la. Now play it, same place, bottom line. F sharp, ready. 1, 1. La, 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 la. Plonk.
Better, much better, okay.
Let's do that bit just going up to the top D now. Let's do it slightly slower. So I'll give you 3, 4 in. 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and... Yes, take the tempo. 3 and 4 and
1, 2. From the start, one of the objectives of the project was to directly involve players from the London Philharmonic Orchestra. David Nolan, the leader, and 6 of his colleagues went to the centre at the end of September for the first of 4 visits.
1, 2.
Second time bar.
To begin with, the younger children found Beginners Please very difficult. It made considerable demands on their limited technique and was far longer than any other piece they had ever played.
Slow bow if you can.
one will start with a bar for nothing, and then we'll pick it up in the first time bar. No slurs, and not too loud. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
Three months later, as the January snow came, the orchestral players paid their last visit. To help those who were still finding it difficult, the children had been divided into 3 small orchestras, with the inexperienced able to sit alongside the better players.
1, 2, 3. I think they've made a lot of progress. This morning, straight away, I noticed how much better it was than last month. They're playing with more confidence, more conviction, more sound. I got them playing with vibrato today, and it's really sounding very good. And they're looking as if they're enjoying it more. They're smiling a lot more, and you know, they're responding even more to me than they were. Sounds lovely. In bar 5, could you bring out those quavers? Because that's the moving part. You know, in bar 5, you know where you have... Can you bring those quavers, bring them right out? Because the first violins go, and you go, and the first violins go, and you go, and that makes the music alive.
Do you think it's a difficult piece for them?
I think it is quite, in parts, the syncopations that Carl has written is proving a bit tricky for some of the younger ones. When you stand and count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, and if you do that, they really play it well. But as soon as you stop counting, they fall over. So you know, but by the end of the morning, they were really getting these syncopations. But I noticed now in the playthrough, a few of them were still jumping in the wrong place. The syncopations are tricky for them, especially the younger ones. But they're doing very well, I must say.
If you're not watching, you won't start together. OK, all watch, yes. All ready. Crescendo.
Roger Lunn is a cellist with the LPO.
Maximum sounds. Down again. I'm working on the youngsters, the ones who are more beginners, by getting the rhythm better, particularly where there's a rest, to make sure that they count the rest. The rests are just as important as the notes, and very often they hang on too long on the previous note. They find it more difficult, much more difficult, because they're playing the same parts as the more experienced players, but therefore they're finding it hard.
Oh, yes!
Slow down. Good, well played. Yes, excellent. And the piano's just, pianist, listen very carefully so that you're always together with the rest of the orchestra, won't you? I think that they're getting much better at reading the music now. It needs a bit of explanation. I'm a cellist, and the younger ones have difficulty in reading sharps, because there means an extension on the cello, and they haven't all learnt this, so we have to teach them on the spot how to do these extensions. But it's coming.
Many of you are very skillful having your music lessons down here. You do a lot of singing, you do a lot of ensemble playing. Use those skills when it comes to this piece and really listen and really feel the tempo.
David Marcoux is the chairman of the orchestra. As a child, he had learned the violin in school and played in the London School Symphony Orchestra.
8 bars for you to count and to listen, but 2 bars before you're ready to play, you should be picking up the instrument and getting prepared so that the bow gets near to the string and then you can be prompt. Right? A bar for nothing, cellos. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Lovely. A little crescendo here. And back again. 1, 2. Now, everybody else getting ready. 1, 2, 3, play. That's better. Cellos. Da, da, dee, da, dee. Crescendo. 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Da, da, dee. Cellos. Dee. Now don't relax over here. Play now. Dee, da, da, dee. Keep going. 1.
I think they've made a lot of progress. I heard one of the other players saying earlier on that they're still falling over some of the rhythmical things. But I think that's basically because they're really quite tricky, not because of any lack of skill on their part, but they're just to come in on the offbeat is something that perhaps a professional might take for granted. But for the children, it's still quite it's like a little tripwire each time it comes along. But in the general way that they produce the sound and they're playing together, they've come on quite a long way.
Midway through the morning, the coffee break. Since listening is an important part of learning music, every Saturday the coffee break is always followed by a recital. On this day, the players from the London Philharmonic formed a tiny string orchestra. They started with a movement from Warlock's Capriel Suite. Dominic Crean used to hold the title of All-Irish Jig Champion. Lastly, playful pizzicato from Britain's Simple Symphony.
Bar 117.
At the end of the morning, the composer came along to conduct a full rehearsal. The music is in the form of a theme with variations and is written to integrate the strings and percussion of the LPO with the children's part. It includes solos for David Nolan.
Okay, good. Okay, whoa, silence, good. Variation 4, please. Right, I've just counted a bar. 1 and 2. Pianos, down, no.
The 8 to 13-year-olds playing this music all started in the group teaching scheme currently operating in a small number of primary schools. At the moment, its funding is under threat and its future is in jeopardy. So do the professional players think it's worthwhile? David Marcoux.
The thing that really fascinates me about the whole string teaching project is that the emphasis is on giving an opportunity to a very wide number of children to start with, so that it's non-selective in that sense, which gives a real opportunity for children who might not otherwise come into contact with a stringed instrument to decide for themselves whether they have any feeling for it, whether they have any liking for it. And there's tremendous participation. It seems that right from the earliest levels that they're at, however basic they are, they join in and they have, they have the opportunity to play with other people. So that the normal way of a child having a lesson and then doing a lot of private practice in a very solitary way is reversed here, because they spend a lot of time together and a lot of time playing together, which is, I think, the most important element in it.
Do you think this is an important advance in string teaching?
I do think that. Just elaborating a little bit on this separate way of working, anybody who has a private lesson then goes to their home and practices their scales and their studies, all of which are essential parts of mastering an instrument. But the end aim always is to make music with other people in a kind of joyful way. Sometimes it's easy to get locked into a very inward-looking world. These children seem to have had that broken open for them, and so that their instrumental playing fits in with their general musicianship, their singing and their general awareness of music and ensemble playing.
Brum, brum, bum, bum, boom, brum, 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 bum, bum, and boom. Now's the tune.
Next week, the first performance of Beginners Please, given in the Royal Festival Hall in the presence of Her Royal Highness the Princess of Wales.